What a bizarre tale this has been. The curious case of Jussie Smollett. Tonight, we can tell you just moments ago, Cook County State's Attorney's Office has now approved charges against Jussie Smollett for disorderly conduct this evening. This in a case that a number of politicians called a modern-day lynching. He claimed that on his way home late one evening in the freezing cold in Chicago, someone had put a rope around his neck, that they had thrown bleach on him, that they were yelling racist and homophobic slurs at him, and that they said, "This is MAGA country." Let's bring in Charlie Hurt for reaction. We were going to have Charlie on to talk about Virginia politics tonight, but this breaking news changes the story this evening. Charlie, what's your reaction to this so far?
It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around the idea that just the accusations. When you first started to kind of hear this a couple of days ago, that this might have been what was the direction it was going in. It's just you can't believe that somebody would do something like that, and it highlights something that we've seen increasingly, I feel like, especially in the last couple of years, where this desire to politicize crime. It's so dangerous, and until America gets one thing straight, and that is that crime is not political. Crime is crime, and if you commit a crime, you're going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and we don't care about the politics, and it's enforcing the law. Until we remind ourselves that that's what the law is about, then we're not going to achieve equal justice under law. And it's these politicians, they're the worst at it. They take an event like this and they try to politicize it, and they try to turn it into a weapon that they can use on the political stage where it does not belong. And the sad, tragic result of it is that because politicians do this sort of thing, it encourages what appears to be very sad, pathetic people to stage things like this, and it's bad for the country. It's bad for our law enforcement system, and it's bad for it's bad for us as a country.
Well, you know what? I mean, we don't know what he's thinking. We wouldn't hazard to guess, but you can imagine that this has been a very embarrassing moment for him. We don't know. He has a hearing tomorrow at 1:30, so we'll see. What his defense is. He may continue to defend himself in this, and we will see. That's the way the process works, and we'll watch it play out. I just want to go to Mike Tobin now, who's on the phone, who's been covering this story for us from the beginning. Mike is on his way back to the bureau. Mike, breaking news on this just moments ago.
Yeah, just moments ago, I just heard from police spokesperson Tom Ahern that he is charged with disorderly conduct and filing the false police report. What was interesting, too, in the note I just got from Ahern is that he was this was not an indictment, that he was charged. So you're going to have to get a legal mind who went to law school, not someone who went to journalism school, to tell you why they would go to the grand jury and then just go straight ahead and charge him. I'm trying to figure that out right now. But other than that, obviously a very exciting day and a very embarrassing day for Jussie Smollett, who, of course, staged his own attack.
Yeah, good points that you make on the language that we've seen on this so far. When there's also the issue of the letter, which is unresolved in terms of who put that letter together and whether or not it came from the two brothers or whether it came from him. Those are all open questions that we will see as we go through the process in this story. But Judge Napolitano, when we spoke about this the other night, said that could constitute mail fraud. So, I mean, there's obviously issues in terms of what is going to be ultimately charged here. And Mike, you understand. Go ahead.
Well, we do know that the FBI was involved in this early on with the original threat from the letter. And what we have heard, and this is where you start to get into all the anonymous police sources, what we have heard through the anonymous police sources, that among the items taken from the brother's house was a magazine with letters cut from it. So that would match up to that. It would be a pretty easy forensic piece of work to do to match the letters to the magazine.
It seems that way. Mike, thank you for hopping on the phone. Great story, great reporting tonight. Thanks, you guys, for watching us on this.
Pretty amazing case of breaking news tonight in the Jussie Smollett story, the hate hoax that he apparently perpetrated. New surveillance footage prior to the attack has come out. And just moments ago, police formally charged Smollett with a felony. A lot going on. Matt Finn is here from Chicago. Police headquarters to sort it out for us. Matt?
Tucker, Smollett, formerly charged with filing a false police report, which carries up to a 3-year sentence here in Illinois. Chicago police say their detectives today presented their evidence to a grand jury in the courthouse behind me. And also the Osundaro brothers' attorney says that the brothers testified before this grand jury for 2.5 hours today. The Osundaro brothers' attorney says the brothers do not have a plea deal or immunity. That's not why they're cooperating, according to the attorney. The attorney says you, quote, don't need a plea deal when you have the truth. The brothers' attorney also says she does not know how Jussie Smollett is sleeping at night, and she is urging Jussie Smollett to cooperate with authorities. Also, the brothers' attorney says her clients don't feel pressured or manipulated by this Hollywood actor, but would not expand on why they got involved in this alleged hoax. The brothers' attorney also says she does not expect charges against her clients. She would also says that the brothers will reveal their truth eventually. We also obtained a new video showing the brothers apparently purchasing the black masks and red hats at a hardware store. The surveillance video shows them doing that. The ball tonight is now in Jussie Smollett's court. It will depend on what type of strategy his legal team is advising him. We do know that Chicago police requested last Saturday that Jussie Smollett answer a couple more of their questions after the Osundaro brothers gave some type of testimony that dramatically altered this case. But as of this moment, it appears that Smollett has not cooperated with police, and Smollett is also facing federal charges because the FBI is investigating that he alleged death threat letter that he received 1 week prior to this hoax. And if he lies to federal authorities, or if he had any part in that letter, he could be in trouble with the FBI as well. Tucker.
Matt Finn in Chicago. I've got to wonder if he'll be arrested in a pre-dawn raid by dozens of armed agents. Oh, wait, he's not. Roger Stone. Thanks, Matt. Libby Locke is an attorney who's been involved in a number of high-profile cases like this, and she joins us tonight for some perspective. Libby, thanks very much for coming on. So first, if you would give us some sense of what the charge is against Jussie Smollett and the penalty for it, potentially.
Sure. So, Tucker, it sounds like Mr. Smollett has been charged with giving a false report to the police. As your reporter just noted, that there's a possible 3-year sentence that Mr. Smollett could face for jail time. And this is a very serious charge. And in my perspective, these kinds of hoaxes, if Mr. Smollett did in fact make up this allegation and did in fact engage in this reporting to the police and wasted police resources, he should in fact go to jail and spend time in jail. Too many of these hoaxes are not prosecuted, and we need some deterrence here.
So that really kind of is the point. I mean, there's a long list of people who've been hurt by these hoaxes. But seems a pretty short list of the people who've been held accountable for perpetrating them. Can you think of another example where someone's gone to prison for something like this?
I can't. We dealt with this in the Rolling Stone case that we prosecuted, yes. The UVA, the fake gang rape that a woman on campus told to a reporter at Rolling Stone. Now, she did not make a false report to the police. She never reported that rape to the police, and therefore the police didn't have a basis to bring charges against that woman. Here, that's very different than Mr. Smollett. If he, in fact, made up this attack and reported it to police, that is a basis for not only state charges, but also federal charges if any of the conduct that he engaged in impacted interstate commerce or was in interstate commerce. Then there's a federal angle to that too.
It's so interesting, though, that it's not simply a question of how the police respond, law enforcement responds, but also the people covering it, the press. There is this instinct to protect the false accuser, the person spreading hatred and fear and distrust in our society. In the case that you were involved in at UVA in Charlottesville, Virginia, the woman who made the false claims was protected, in effect, by the Washington Post and other media outlets for a long time. I never understood why.
Yeah, her anonymity was protected throughout that process because she purported to be a victim of rape, even though every story of rape that she told, there were multiple stories, turned out to be, debunked. And here, this is an example of media confirmation bias at its best. From the very get-go, the media rushed in and said, and politicians too, Tucker, rushed in and said, this attack is horrible. They immediately hashtag believed Jussie. And there was no stopping and thinking about, does this smell right? What are the facts here? And look, now it sounds like the prosecutors believe that there was a false report. They have brought charges. And, I would like to see what the evidence is, his phone records, his...
I mean, I don't know what the evidence is either, but I know a BS story when I see one. I thought it from day one. But why the media, which is paid to be skeptical and paid to chase down facts, are the ones demanding that we believe? I mean, Robin Roberts on ABC colluded with this guy to perpetuate his hoax. The other channels, the dishonest ones we compete against, are not even covering this development, apparently. Why would reporters fall for this before everyone else?
Well, that's a great question, Tucker. It's exactly why Justice Thomas was correct in raising yesterday in the Supreme Court why we need to rethink that New York Times versus Sullivan standard, which is the actual malice standard that was applied in the Warren Court back in the 1960s, which has insulated the media from liability in these cases. And this confirmation bias is a real problem. And
I totally agree.
An informed American electorate is important, and the media is responsible for helping the American electorate be properly informed.
That's right. And we're falling down on the job, I would say. More us being the media. Libby Locke, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
One of the few people with direct experience in these stories. We put immense trust